Good afternoon, everyone. Scott here from Pillow Partners with this week's edition of the Pillow Talk podcast, where we have really great chats with small business owners, other people in the property industry, community heroes, champions, charities, and just any good, inspiring people we come across. And this week, we definitely have someone super inspiring. I was amazed by their LinkedIn bio. So rather than me butchering this, I'm going to hand over and let you do a justified introduction. Over to you, Thabo.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. So my name is Thabo Nhlangano, and I'm currently living in Glasgow. So I moved from Glasgow from a place called Aylesbury in Buckinghamshire, but I'm originally from Zimbabwe, where I was born, and I moved here just before I went to sixth form. So I came here, did my sixth form studies, went to university, and started working. So currently, I'm working in my business, which is called Love Your Stays, where we do service departments, and the business is based in Glasgow, but we've got properties in Scotland and in the Midlands. So with these properties for Love Your Stays, it's a strategy which I like to call hybrid, because some of them we own them, and some of them are owned by the landlords. So we rent them out from landlords, and rent them out as service accommodation on a nightly basis. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's me, Scott. And thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
Not at all. And the next time we are going to do this again, and we're going to do it in person because we have a big studio and you're in Glasgow. And we've known each other kind of electronically for many years, always in the same groups, same property circles. So it's kind of overdue that you should be in the office. So the next time we will do it in person. But here we are. So this a nice podcast for me. There's various things I would love to chat about. You're immersed in the property industry, so there's lots we can look at with serviced accommodations, business models. The first thing that when I saw your profile and I wanted to know is there's many people in the UK. Some of my ex-friends included, business is hard, you can't set up businesses, that's, it's everything's stacked against you. But you came over here from Zimbabwe and not only got a degree in working towards a master's degree, but also very, very successful entrepreneur as well. So let's go back and think, was it 16? You came from Zimbabwe. Why the UK?
That's a great question. So I'm fortunate enough. I was joining my parents. So my parents moved to the UK in the early 2000s, and I was left in Zimbabwe at a boarding school. And I used to come on holidays, etc. So obviously, my parents moved like for political reasons and for greener pastures in the United Kingdom. So I came in here when I was just finished of GCSEs, which was like 16 years old. And coming from an African background, being Zimbabwean, everything is all about education. So the parents emphasize too much on education, study, be this, be an engineer. So that was like the whole goal, like come here, study your socks off, and be an engineer.
Now, I think your degree was it in aeronautic engineering?
Yeah, so it
Now,
was
um, tell us about the jump to property and then into service accommodation, because you do more than service accommodation. But why going from the academic? It's a solid career is aeronautic engineering. When I left the Navy, I could have done electronic engineering, and it was the Royal Navy would have put me through my degree, and I would have had a career path. And in the west of Scotland, a solid career probably forever. We're in the Westwick Airport. There's British Aerospace, Sprint, all the Aerosystem type things. And I know my reasons for not choosing electronic engineering, but it's a bit of a jump. So how did you get into property?
Yeah, no, that's fun enough. I moved to Glasgow for BAE Systems, which is like I was now building Type 26 ships and frigates, etc. Yeah, so for me it was I've always been the kind of person who's interested in entrepreneurship and in business. So even for my degree, I really wanted to do a business management degree, but like I got advice from my parents, from people around me to say, you know what, do the hardest degree, which is more like a problem solving degree, because business is about solving problems. So that, and my second best thing, which I was interested in, was aeroplanes. So I was like, okay, aerospace engineering then. And the degree was great. It opened a few doors. Like I've worked for like big corporate companies, Ministry of Defense, MBDA, BA Systems, Airbus. So all these big corporate companies, you see the structure, the way they do things, the governance, which you can
Yep.
learn from them and apply in your small businesses. So that was like big lessons learned. And obviously with that engineering background and with project management skills, it was easily transferable in business, because there's a lot of communication skills which you can use, people skills, all these soft skills, because that's what property is about. So with that in mind, so obviously, like, I knew earning one single income wasn't going to cut it in life, because I had ambitions. I wanted to start a family, get married. So I used to look at this magazine called the Forbes magazine, and
Yep.
all the billionaires there was always real estate, real estate. So I
Yep.
was like, okay, how can I get into real estate? So I started this as like my pension fund, to say, you know what, buy one property a year, or buy one property every 2 years. That'll be fine. So I started educating myself. So like going to seminars, like free property courses, just reading about these, binging on YouTube material, listening to other people. And this was like in 2018. So 2018, 2019, I started immensely, like going to all these 2 days hotel seminars. Then they were talking crazy strategies, like
Yep.
crazy things. I was like, wait, can you do that in property? So with that education, with that exposure, I started speaking to people who were actually doing different things in property than what I actually thought it was. Like just the traditional vanilla letting, like just
Yep.
buying a property and renting it out to someone. He's like, wait, can you rent out your property as a hotel? Yes, you can. Okay. So yeah, so it was through education and involving in different podcasts and just learning from different people.
Nice, fantastic. And you'd mentioned some project management. You're not only building a property empire, but studying part time for your master's degree. Is that right?
So I'm still doing like a master's in project management at the University of
Yep.
Liverpool. So that's been like a slow burner, because I'm from the academic background. So once I started it, I was like, yeah, you know what, I will finish it. So it's like, yeah, it's on the side. But after that, I've always wanted to do an MBA. So
Yep.
I am looking for other MBA courses which are 100% online. So even if it's 2 years, just something which I always wanted to have.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was the exact same. You saw Forbes and Forbes magazine and thought all these people are in real estate. I remember looking at when I was younger, and there'd be things on TV, and it was probably New York, but it was all these business people around a board table with a cityscape window, and they all had MBAs, and I didn't know what an MBA was, but I thought I'm going to be like those guys in New York in business suits that were all doing real estate deals, and I don't know what went wrong. Well, don't know what went wrong, but that inspired me to study towards, and the exact same, building a business. I was working full time and finishing, and then at 6 o'clock and going to the university at 6:30 and studying. So yeah, you definitely can get MBAs online. University of West of Scotland does an executive MBA, which was quite interesting. But yeah, just definitely transferable to the business world. And again, just topics like marketing, human resource management, financial accounting, all these things you definitely need in property. So your business, Love My Stays, we don't do business together, so you're not our client, we're not your letting agent or anything. In fact, if anything, we'd be competitors. So there's no association.
No, we're not competitors, we're collaborators, because
Yeah,
I've got a group and I'll pass you guests, like I'll pass a
well,
lot of
there you
people.
go.
So
That's exactly what it is, Tyler Partners. And you've got a relationship with some of the team, but we are we're not linked in any way, but tell myself and the audience about your business, Love Your Stays. My strategy is 100% service accommodation. I love it, but I also love hearing about other people's businesses as well. So tell us a little bit about that and where you are just now.
Yeah, so Love Your Stays is serviced accommodation. So for those who don't know what serviced accommodation is taking a property and renting it out on a nightly basis, exactly like how hotels do it. So
Yep.
with these ones, it's got like hotel amenities and it's got extras as well, because like a lot of people, you can find different things which hotels don't offer in those houses. So yeah, so we operate in Glasgow and in the Midlands in the United Kingdom. So we had properties there and we just tend them to service the accommodation. So I mean, like the whole strategy is to try and expand in one area at the minute. And the area which we've chosen is the Midlands, because that's where like we from and that's where we're gonna go back to, you know. But like funny enough, Scotland is actually working out the best in terms of occupancy, in terms
Really?
of being busy. Yeah, which is yeah, I don't know why, but with all the licensings which have come in,
Yep.
etc., but we still like mitigating that. And yeah, so the type of guests um we get into our properties are like the typical contractors and holiday makers. So we optimize our properties to attract Monday to Friday the people coming into the city to work. You know, it can be any work. It can be construction work, working in insurances, etc. You know, because our properties are hybrid. They are nice and they can accommodate anyone. Then weekends, we usually get leisure travelers, people coming from all over the world for the weekend. You know, you'd be surprised how many people are coming to Scotland for a night out, etc., especially Glasgow. So it's very good. It's very good.
So a few really key points there that super smart, and you've just jumped over them. But something that's I think is value to the audience. Number one is you said you're concentrating on the Midlands, one area, and for me that's lots of people say, well, different, lots of eggs in the basket, different areas. But for us, we love clustering properties together. So in the Midlands, although that's quite a big geographic area, but having properties in Glasgow is a nice example. Before licensing, I think we may have, Emma would have had 74, but all in the one area, meaning you can accommodate large groups of people that you couldn't if they were spread out. If there's a problem, you can put someone elsewhere. So economies of scale with cleaners and buying things. So super smart to cluster properties in one area. And the other thing you mentioned is you are very clear about the type of guests that you can service. And for me, lots of people will do a 2-day course, and if that's where they finish their education, then they will go and attempt things. But actually, if you're not clear on the type of property that your guest, your property can only service a certain types of guests, and your target market needs to be a certain type of guest. And if you don't understand that and go for everything, very few properties do service the contractor, the corporate, the executive, and the tourism market. There are some winners there. But basically, if you're building return guests, direct booking strategies, a solid business, you're focusing and you've got that drilled down. You know who your midweek guests are and you know who your weekend guests are, and you know how long the average stay is. So all those metrics, I think that very few people actually measure. It's like my occupancy level was this, or I get one big booking. You're measuring the type of guests, how long they stay. So super smart on that.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, we do go into the detail to say we follow the guests to say why they're coming into the area. So especially the Monday to Friday ones, you know, they'll tell you, oh, we're building a McDonald's. You know, we do this. Then I'm like, okay, where else do you build a McDonald's? You know, like then they'll be like, oh, next week I'm in Midlands. I'm like, okay, I've got properties in the Midlands, you know, so we do build our rapport with guests. And even if I don't have properties, I'll be like, oh yeah, my friends have got properties, yeah, check them out, you know, like just to try keep the business in collaboration with the other operators, you know. So that's what we do.
Nice. We'll cover the Midlands, going back to Scotland. For the viewers that don't realise that Scotland is right in the middle of licensing, heavy regulation from the government. There's pros and cons to this. Lots of people exiting just because, one, they won't get the licensing. As we've said, the Scottish government gave the power to the 32 local authorities to make up their own rules, and they're all doing different things. And what gets you a license and what one local authority wants is totally different. The prices are different. So it's I say it's been challenging. Luckily, we have a nice big team here to deal with it. But the licensing is going to affect the market. Not everyone will get a license. Not everyone will want to apply for a license, because my old saying I steal from Andrew Henderson, who wrote the book Nomad Capitalist: go where you're treated the best. At the moment, the Midlands may treat you better than the Scottish government, hence you may want to focus there. But lots of people will exit just because they want to give up. But that leaves opportunities in Scotland, especially Glasgow being Scotland's biggest city.
Yep.
So how has the licensing affected you, and what's your thoughts on how this will translate into 2024 for service accommodation operators in Scotland?
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, a lot of people have exited. So before the deadline, which was in October, so like a lot of, I mean, was it end of September? Yeah, end of September. Yeah, so a lot of people started like exiting, and they were like in the Facebook groups, Facebook communities for Scottish operators. Other people were selling their properties, and other people were going for the traditional long-term rentals. So we did see a spike in our bookings during that time. Like during September, October, there was a lot of people looking for properties, like contractors coming. Contractors ended up now like driving 20 miles out of it. So obviously right now it's winter periods, things are quietening down because of Christmas, etc. So there's a lot of construction decrease. But when it comes to the summer, there will be like because the summer we'll start getting replies from the Glasgow City Council for those people operating in Glasgow. So other people will be taken out, which is for sure. So I mean, fingers crossed, everyone stays in the game, because it will be now coming into economies of scales like supply and demand, which we also saw in 2021 during COP26. When the demand is high and the supply is low, the prices will go up. So the people who are going to stay in the game are definitely going to benefit, because there will be a lot of demand, so there will be a lot of demand. So I mean, the prices will increase. But for me, I just think having regulations is fine and all that, but I feel like some of these are very strict and very stringent, and like people have been operating for a very long time. And I remember during COP26, the Scottish government were asking us, sending emails through via Airbnb booking.com, asking operators to release more properties, etc. But now for the economy, because that event passed, now they just want like to close down a lot of people. So, and other people, this is their livelihood, this is their full-time business, so it's like, what do you want them to do? So there is like, I mean, for me, the biggest thing, everyone has to be compliant with the fire safety doors, with all these fire, which is 100%, because we don't want like accidents or bogus operators operating, but most of these properties are 100% compliant, but they still want to take us out, because for service accommodation, yourself, for our businesses to be marketable, it has to be curb appealing, it has to be aesthetic pleasing, so it has to be nice for someone to actually live there, for someone to book there. Everything has to be working. You can't come into a service accommodation where there's no water, the boiler is not working. So it's very different from long-term ASTs, where the landlord can take a week or 2 weeks to fix something. For us, it's a matter of minutes. You have to fix things in minutes.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, I'm seeing a theme here with self-development for you. How do you find the time? Because studying for a master's degree, you need to do, working in a business, you need to do, and that leaves a little bit of time whenever we have it as entrepreneurs to do our own self-development and learning. How do you find the time to squeeze that personal growth in?
Oh yeah, it's you know what to say. It's very very hard to balance the time. So I mean, and for me as well, I'm married. I've got kids, so always like looking for that family time. It's very hard. So what I normally do is I dedicate the weekends to the studies, and obviously Monday to Friday is the actual like business time. And obviously through business, for example, right now we having a conversation and I'm learning from what you're saying as well. So which is like part of my property development, because I speak to a lot of people, communicate and see what problems they have. You know, in those Facebook groups, people ask questions, and you can actually see, okay, this is affecting someone. It might affect me as well. So it's just being like in a network. I think one of the best things, if you want to be in property and if you want to manage yourself properly, manage your time, just become in networks and learn from other people so you can be efficient and avoid those mistakes, you know. So for me, it's yeah, so that's how I balance my time. I just try property Monday to Friday with different people and just learn as much as possible. And weekends 100% on the education side.
You know, it shows it shows where my priorities, right? Because I forgot about family. The first thing you said, well, I've got a family as well. And I'm like, oh, sorry, that is most people's priority.
Nah,
I forgot all about that.
that's fine, you know, like yeah, so yeah, it is hard time. But another thing as well is you obviously, you Scott, you've got a big company, and for us small operators, small business owners, it's like you can't do everything yourself. So we try outsource as much as possible, like, you know, work with other people in the communities for from getting cleaners, handymen, and all those things, you know. Otherwise you can't do everything, so we outsource. Yes, it decreases the margins on the profits, but like this is when you need to learn like to scale as well, you know. And yeah.
Cool. Well, my two final questions, as always. Number one is if you had to give one tip to the audience, we'll focus at someone in full-time employment or in education looking to start to get into property. What would that one tip be to them who are starting off?
Now, my one tip is immerse yourself in the communities. Look for people who are doing what you want to do, and follow them if they're in podcasts, YouTube, and all that. Listen to them and reach out to them, because a lot of people are helpful. And obviously, we spoke about time, people's time. You know, just reach out to them if it means paying for their time or taking them out. But just learn. They will give you that guidance. But I think the biggest mistake which I did when I was starting off, I thought I could learn this myself, but which actually took longer than actually paying someone, whether it's an educator or a course, and just get the foundations. But like you said earlier on, learning will never stop. So you always learning. You will learn in the business, and all the things which you thought you knew will become irrelevant, and you will learning new things as time goes on.
Perfect. And the last question, all about always like to finish by giving something back. We always want to use these podcasts to help the person giving up their time to be here make their business better. So if someone's watching who would love to work with you, collaborate, partner, what is the ideal customer for you? And let's see if we can get the audience working with you and giving something back for your time. Who's your ideal customer that you'd
Yeah.
like to
So
get?
thank you so much. So at this stage in the business, we focusing on scaling up, and our scale up model is we buy the properties, refab them, refinance them, and we rent them out as serviced accommodation, Airbnb, Booking.com. So the biggest challenge we always face is the financing. You know, and so we're looking to work with anyone. I don't like to use the word investors, because
Yep.
we're looking to work with anyone, any professional who's got extra funds and they want to put them into work in property, and we can collaborate that way.
Perfect.
So those are the
Listen, guys,
people
you
I'm
are
with.
watching. If you like what you've heard today, we'll put all the contact details, the LinkedIn profile. Again, if you would love everyone watching to connect. We always want to come together as a community, helping small businesses. The money goes to the small entrepreneurs, not the booking.coms, the Facebooks, the Googles. So we want to come together, be stronger together, as it says in the back of all of our things, and in fact all of our literature, merch, everything. So let's work together and let's see if we can share the love. So thank you very much for your time. We will do a longer one of these in the podcast in person, where we can relax a little bit more. But thank you very much for your time. We'll put all your contact details underneath, and please get in touch and just give some business to some small entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.